What's up, ladies and gents? This is KSigKid coming at you with another Destiny video. Today, it's Tuesday, it's reset day, the vendors have reset, and what that means is we've got to go to the tower to all of the vendors, check out what weapons they've got, and see if we've got any god rolls. The last few weeks have been amazing, let's hope that this week holds up as well. So just like the last couple of weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to go to each vendor, we're going to highlight their best weapons, and then skim over the others. And for New Monarchy, yet again, we're going to go with the sniper rifle. So Deposition, yet again, I know it's a lower impact style sniper rifle, not a big fan, but it does have short gaze, and having a good sniper sight is pretty much what you want in PvP. So you've got short gaze, and you've got quick draw. That should be good enough to get yourself a lot of kills in the Crucible. You could put on Perfect Balance if you want for extra stability, since this is faster firing, or Triple Tap, which you're just simply not going to proc in the Crucible. And then Unflinching, not a bad perk, some people swear by it. So aside from that, there are two other weapons that at least look okay from New Monarchy. The first is the First Citizen. So this is a super fast firing heavy machine gun. You've got aggressive ballistics to start to give you extra impact, but I might put on linear compensator. So if you've got linear compensator, then in the middle you could pick either hip fire or armor piercing rounds. Then Perfect Balance would be pretty nice to increase that stability. Crowd control sounds good, but on a fast firing machine gun, having more stability might be nice. And then of course you've got persistence, so this one isn't bad. And then the sidearm isn't too bad either, the Impeacher. Whenever we take a look at this, again, it's a super fast firing sidearm. You've got some different shots that have nice target acquisition here. Sure shot probably is the one I would go with. Quick draw, again, always good for a sidearm. You could pick quick draw, you could get a little bit of extra range with hand loaded, and then some extra range with rangefinder. So this sidearm isn't that bad either. That's about all New Monarchy's got. I'm not a big fan of these other weapons. Some of the problems it has in general is just the perks that these various other weapons can get for New Monarchy can't compare to some of the other god tier perks, whether it be the perks they get or the stat rolls they get. For instance, this free will looks like it could have at least some potential, except for the fact that its base range is so bad. Look, we've got Outlaw. Outlaw is a phenomenal perk on hand cannons, but nothing to really increase that range, and that's just not going to work in PvE or definitely PvP. Similarly, we've got a shotgun, it's got a rangefinder, yeah, and it just doesn't have anything else that's really going to do anything for you. Unfortunately, these weapons just aren't going to hold up. This is more of a PvE style of shotgun that doesn't really have PvE perks. So that's what we've got for New Monarchy this time, and we're going to move on to the Crucible Quartermaster, see what he's got. He doesn't have anything that's just super god tier, but he has a lot of good things and things that might be sneaky underrated. I think we're going to highlight each new day, because I feel like this one just has some potential to just be decent all around. So you've got your various sights in here, then you've got Battle Runner, which is pretty nice. Whenever you get a kill, you're basically sprinting while you're walking. Hand-laid stock gives you that stability, which is phenomenal. Don't worry about losing your range, because fusion rifle bolts still come out pretty fast, and stability is king for me on fusion rifles. And then of course Hot Swap. So swap over to this, you're going to have some nice stability from Hot Swap, plus your bonus stability from hand-laid stock. I think this will be overall a nice fusion rifle for all around. Also, I mainly picked that because I didn't want to go back to the Palindrome yet again, which of course is coming out with another solid roll. It seems like each and every week we have a solid Palindrome, mainly because if you get that max range, you're going to be in good shape. So here we've got Spray and Play, and then max range here with Reinforced Barrel. Of course, you're going to pick that over Lightweight, and then Reactive Reload. So if you get to the end of your magazine, you can trigger Spray and Play, and then you'll have Reactive Reload. Hopefully, if you've got a kill with that last bullet, and it should work out well. Chances are this isn't the best Palindrome you've ever seen though, but it does have max range, and this style of hand cannon does really good work in the Crucible, so that's why I'm putting it on the list. There are a couple other things. This Curtain Call isn't bad either. This Curtain Call could be useful in PvP or PvE, which is why I'm picking this right now. So you could pick Cascade if you wanted, or Battle Runner yet again. In the middle column, Rifle Barrel will give you that nice range on there, or Quick Draw if maybe you're using this for PvE. But Rifle Barrel would be good, and then Full Auto. Again, this is what could make it useful in PvE or PvP. Curtain Call isn't that bad, but chances are you've got some shotguns that are just simply better already in your inventory. Also, we've got the sidearm Anton's Rule, again looking solid just like new Monarchy. We've got Sure Shot right here. We've also got Outlaw, which could be a really cool thing, or Feeding Frenzy. Shoot, you could pick whichever you want there. Hand loaded, good, giving you some extra range. I would pick that over Casket Mag, and then Hot Swap, swap over to the sidearm, which you typically do, and then get that nice bonus accuracy. We've got two more things that are pretty solid. The Event Horizon. I feel this thing might be sneaky underrated for this week. First off, we've got Short Gaze, you've got Mulligan over here, or Army of One. People I think do like Mulligan though, because it has been buffed from where it was initially in the game. In the middle column, this is where I think it gets sneaky. Casket Mag is kind of one of those underrated perks, give you a nice little extra bullet in your magazine, and then you've got Unflinching. Moving on to our Heavy Machine Gun, which is our last highlight for the week. We've got just a pretty solid overall machine gun. So you've got your barrels down here. You could pick Life Support or Spray and Play, which is solid on a machine gun. In the middle, perfect balance to give you that extra stability, or go for that massive range boost with Rifle Barrel. And then of course, Persistence. So overall, you pick all the stability you want, or stability and range, and then Spray and Play. Overall, a pretty solid machine gun. The rest of the items I'm not really a big fan of. We've got 0 Day Dilemma here. Taking a look at its sights, nothing is crazy here. Spray and Play, not bad. Unfortunately, you're losing your ammo in your magazine here with Brace Frame, and we'll just pass on Appended Magazine. Persistence isn't bad. I guess if you use Persistence and Appended Magazine and Spray and Play, maybe it wouldn't be that bad, but I'm not jumping up and down for it. Party Favor, you had your chance last week, and this week you're back to your old tricks. We're gonna of course pass on this thing. It has no bullets in its magazine, and its perks do not help it at all in that favor. So moving on to that, we're getting to the hero formula yet again. Probably going to pass by this thing. Life Support could be okay if it proc more. Same with Brace Frame, nice stability, lowering that magazine size though. If we had maybe just a more god tier perk here, this thing would be more useful. But we're gonna pass on that thing, and I think finally we've got the rocket launcher. And for the rocket launcher, don't be fooled by the cluster bomb. This is not the cluster bomb that you're actually looking for. Overall, we're gonna pass on this one as well, and move on to the Vanguard Quartermaster. So moving on to the Vanguard Quartermaster, he almost did it. There was almost 0 weapons that I really even wanted to recommend here. The only one that I can really recommend is the Teacup Tempest, and this is just pretty solid overall for a sidearm. So your various sights that you've got here, you could pick Zen Moment or Feeding Frenzy, both would be great perks. In the middle, Snapshot or High Caliber Rounds, again, both could be great perks. And then Hot Swap. Overall, this is just a really great weapon, just suited to any style that you want to put on this. So this is pretty much the only weapon that I would recommend from the Vanguard Quartermaster. Everything else is just falling way short. We have had far better Continentals than this. This isn't cutting it at all. There were far better ones for the Continental. As far as the Parthian shot, I think some people might be okay-ish with this, but I'm not. I don't like these perks in the beginning. Some people do like Taking E. My personal opinion is I don't like small bore. If I'm going to lose my magazine, I want it to be for a full boost to either range or stability, not a little bit of a half and half to range and stability. So pass on this as well. Like I said, there's not going to be anything here in the Vanguard Quartermaster that really jumps out at me. We had a great Angel's Advocate. I think it was in the first week that we had our vendor reset. Since then, nothing here has been anything amazing at all. And moving on to our fusion rifle, if people like this super fast charging fusion rifle, they might be okay with this one. I'm not, but at least you do have perfect balance here, which is one of the better stability perks you could put on this, because it doesn't lower that already low magazine size, which is just doesn't make any sense. When the weapon is weaker, they're gonna lower the magazine size. I don't know, that one doesn't make any sense. The shotgun Occam's Razor, no, holy crap. Like I said, Vanguard Quartermaster just isn't bringing the heat this week. Isn't bringing the heat. I feel bad that we even have to just showcase these weapons, but we're going to showcase them because some people might be looking out for these. They might actually pick the 7th Sense, not because all of its perks are amazing, but because it has Unflinching and Short Gaze. That's about the best that we could recommend on the 7th Sense there. The Bone Crusher even isn't the greatest thing in the world. I said, boy, I'd like to see a terrible Bone Crusher. This isn't terrible, but it's not as good as we've seen because these first couple perks, not really digging those. And of course, I would not pick small bore. I would at least increase my magazine size here with a pendant magazine, and then rangefinder could be okay. Bone pressure, not terrible, but not amazing. And then finally, disassembly required. Again, not the cluster bomb rocket launcher that you're looking for. Vacuum, just a garbage perk. Unfortunately, Vanguard Quartermaster is not bringing the heat. The only thing you would want to consider is Teacup Tempest. And we're going to quickly move on to Dead Orbit and forget all about this. Okay, moving on to Dead Orbit, definitely better than the Vanguard Quartermaster. We've got one really great, really fun looking weapon right here, and that is the Keystone. So this scout rifle, I think people are going to have a lot of fun with it. They've got explosive rounds right here in the beginning. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. You could pick Perfect Balance here in the middle, or go with Outlaw, and then of course you've got crowd control. So overall, I think this is going to be kind of a fun gun, definitely a gun I can see people wanting to pick up and play around with. Aside from the Keystone, we've got two other weapons that look at least pretty interesting. So Bitter Edge, yet again, we're talking really low impact here, but I think the perks overall are some that some people would really enjoy. Ambush Scope, that's still pretty popular for people, even though it does kind of lower your aim assist. But we've also got ourselves some Quick Draw, which is nice. You've also got Clown Cartridge, which could work out really nice, and then Firefly, which everybody loves. So I think there are some people that would buy this because mainly they feel that this would be a really fun gun. Aside from that, I believe the Fusion Rifle also is pretty solid overall. So we've got our various scopes in here. You could pick accelerated coils if that's the way you wanted to play, or lightweight. In the middle, you've got Perfect Balance to help increase your stability. And then you've got Hot Swap, not a god tier fusion rifle, but not the worst thing in the world. As far as the other weapons go, our Extremophile, it's not terrible. It's really not terrible, but just like the Continental, there have been far better roles, and there are far better roles for this than just Persistence and Perfect Balance. Also, last week, we had our shotgun, which was really nice. It got basically that max range. This week, it's just falling apart all over the place. The shotgun just isn't cutting it. It's not going to hold water, especially compared to the one that he was selling last week. This week, we're going to pass. And all is right in the world because the Unto Dust is back to being just junk. Just junk. All feels right in the world of Destiny now that the Unto Dust is back to its normal place in the world. So that's Dead Orbit, and we're going to move on to Future War Call. Alright, Lakshmi, what have you got for us? Yet again, I think we're going to recommend a Scout Rifle. We're going to recommend the Scout Rifle yet again, the Wounded. So this weapon looks like it's actually pretty fun. The only thing I wish is it had more stability. You could start off with explosive rounds, which is always a lot of fun, or of course full auto, and that's why this weapon just looks like it could be fun to play as full auto or explosive rounds. In the middle, you've got that range up there with Hammer Forged or Unflinching, and of course crowd control, which is always just nice to have. So overall, the Wounded is going to be my #1 recommendation for Future War Call, and there are a couple other at least solid items here, and that's the Wormwood. So the Wormwood, of course, everybody's got the Wormwood, everybody's using the Wormwood, and yet again, it's coming in hot. Whether you want high caliber rounds or quick draw, you've got extra stability. Of course, range would be a little bit better, but beggars can't be choosers. So extra stability and then hot swap, overall a pretty solid Wormwood. The other weapons, nothing really I'm just clamoring about. So the Whale here, I guess you could have a little bit of fun with the Whale. So the Whale's got explosive rounds, which you'll like. If you've got a hand cannon that has a lower range, explosive rounds is the way to go. You could max out your stability here with Perfect Balance, and of course reactive reload. So overall, the Whale, not the worst one in the world, but you've got a better hand cannon. Chances are you bought one of the 50 palindromes that the various vendors have been selling. This Waltz, we had a god-tiered, basically perfect Waltz a few weeks ago. This one isn't coming even remotely close. We're going to pass on by that. Moving on to the Fusion Rifle. Fusion Rifle isn't the worst thing in the world, but it really doesn't boost up your stability, unfortunately, and because of that, we really can't recommend that as much as some other ones that do really max out the stability. And finally, we have the Warpath. So Warpath is kind of interesting. You've got grenades and horseshoes, which is great. You've got heavy payload to really max out that blast radius, which is phenomenal. The problem is you can't increase your velocity at all, so these rockets are going to fire off extremely slow. Overall though, not the worst weapon in the world. Anyway, that is our vendors this week. That's our vendor weapons. Not too shabby, some really fun looking things this week. Not the craziest god tier rolls, nothing like last week where everybody went crazy for rocket launchers, but still pretty fun. Anyway guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out these awesome videos. Good luck with your raids, your drops, your weapons, and I'll see you around in Destiny. #FunWeapons.